Thanks to Audible for sponsoring today's video. Obviously, I'm always listening to music, but sometimes I want something different on the go. And Audible's new series Breakthrough is a first-of-its-kind singing-songwriting competition featuring 5 undiscovered artists competing in a setting where hearing is believing. The unseen nature of the competition is something I really like because it's so easy to get caught up on someone's visuals rather than focusing on the natural talent. With Daveed Diggs of Hamilton fame serving as show anchor and Sarah Bareilles and Kelly Rowland guiding the artists as their celebrity judges, you get to hear expert advice helping these budding songwriters do exactly what its title would imply in Breakthrough. Audible has countless great titles in their library. I personally love listening to musician autobiographies, and you can check out their new weekly series Breakthrough by trying Audible risk-free by signing up for a 30-day free trial. Go to audible.com/breakthrough or text code BREAKTHROUGH to 500-500. There is no Nickelback on this list. Sorry to burst that dream like a bubble in a knife fight, but no. When talking about great albums by not great bands, the takes are gonna have to get a little spicier than the "Look at this photograph." You actually fell for it, didn't you? Admit it. Bad or mediocre bands with one great album. It's a topic I've wanted to cover for years, but struggled to put together because it's not exactly that common. It's impossible to make this list without offending someone, so I figured what the hell, I'll take your Swamp Cowboys and Plastic Toys to make a list worthy of the video's title. There's definitely a key difference between good and great, because I think almost every band here has at least one other solid album. I mainly just gauged it by weighing out each discography, and if there's more misses than hits,
congratulations, you won.
Drop a like to show your support for 10 years of SOS, and a special thank you to my channel members going that extra mile with a $5 a month membership that helps us keep the content rolling. Just click the join button below to find out more.
Baby, when it's 3 a.m. I must be lonely.
You could call the Rob Thomas fronted Matchbox 20 consistent, but I'd call them tediously mediocre, with a penchant for making some extremely sleepy albums that do usually manage to squeak out a few goodies. Their 1996 debut, Yourself or Someone Like You, is strong, not golden, but a good time top to bottom, which makes the lack of passion thereafter feel like we're in the presence of a singles band. Rob Thomas has a likable, if not exaggerated swagger and an instantly recognizable voice, which does help make a spotty discography feel more bearable, but when I say singles band, it's the idea that they don't really seem to have much of a heart kicking around in the deep cuts of albums like Mad Season or North. In sharp contrast, Matchbox 20's debut has an effortless charm that captures the spirit of the 90s like a lightning bug and a summer lantern. You're greeted with the breezy opener The Real World that sets in stone the mood of the 45 minutes you're about to spend with what feels like a group of friends jamming and talking about the ups and downs of life. Despite their frequent mediocrity, I don't think this is an irredeemable band. With riveting tracks like Unwell, Parade, Bent, and Don't Get Me Wrong under their belt, they continue to exist on a semi-permanent basis with just enough material coming out to make the adult contemporary fanatics weak at the knees.
My feet are so black and blue, and so are you.
Say Anything is the holy trinity of bad bands, because 1, they're bad at being a band, 2, their frontman Max Bemis is a bad person, and 3, they peaked so early in their career, it's basically impossible to ignore the mountain of bad bullshit. Putting aside Max's personal woes, of which there are many, Say Anything were one of the hottest bands of the 2000s scene, and a band that I found deserving of the hype because of the sprawling, innovative emo punk LP Is a Real Boy. There's a case to be made for their out-of-print debut Baseball 2, but I find that Is a Real Boy has aged more gracefully than anything else Bemis ever had a hand in creating. Razor-sharp wit decorates the track list like landmines in a tunnel of love. The self-deprecating humor takes unpredictable twists and turns, but the music never falters. You feel a wide range of caustic emotion as Bemis attempts to make sense of his own family tree and how it connects to his imposter syndrome when it comes to creating music. Everything that came next was a series of increasing missteps at the hands of Bemis's addictions and declining mental health. Imagine what could have been had Bemis done better for the benefit of the entire band. Outlandish ideas could have been balanced out with an actual plan, and the turnover rate of members wouldn't have been higher than a fast food joint, but we'll never know that reality since Max always comes first.
Through the ditches and burn, through the witches and slam in the back of my Jaguar.
After the breakup of White Zombie, their spooktastic frontman dug through the ditches and burned through the witches to slam head-on into a solo career that feels less like entertainment and more like a Spirit Halloween store that stays open 365 days a year. It didn't start out that way. Hellbilly Deluxe dropped the year after White Zombie split and is a damn fun riff-tastic time that gets its hands dirty while delivering the bloody thrills. Think of it like a grisly house of horrors you toss on at a Halloween party and everyone gets drunk and rages out while Meet the Creeper and Dracula blast out so loud that your neighbors call in a noise complaint. I can't deny that he's had a super successful solo career because every album from Hellbilly Deluxe to Lunar Injection has charted inside the top 10, so somewhere out there, a lot of you are harboring a secret obsession with mediocre heavy metal that pretends like it's speeding down Hell's Highway, only for the green screen to glitch out to show that Rob Zombie's been burning rubber in his own driveway for decades. It's also predictable. Insert something graphic meant to be shocking, something about a dark drive through Satan's butthole, yelling vocals that sound like the scream you would make after stubbing your toe in the dark. It's rough to sit through, and if you think I'm unfairly exaggerating, try marathoning his solo discography in one sitting and get back to me.
Ooh, Lord, well, just cheer her up, spot her off.
The British band the Kooks are like movie characters whose names you can't remember even if you literally just watched the film. Time spent in their world can be pleasant at times, but it's largely forgettable as you realize that their best days are all but a tiny little dot in the rearview mirror. Before their quirky indie rock debut landed, critics in the UK were blowing more smoke their way than a fog machine. Luckily, Inside In, Inside Out was a success and actually deserves some praise for its grounded, refreshing simplicity with a side helping of toe-tapping guitar jangles. Does it think with its heart rather than its brain? Often, but the naivety is sweet, and revisiting tracks like Seaside, Matchbox, and even Jackie Big Tits should at the very least crack a smile if you're looking back on the gleefully dumb decisions you made as a teen. Their sophomore album, Conk, was okay, and I really do like the first two songs on it, but starting with the groan-worthy Junk of the Heart in 2011, there's been a severe lack of creative nutrition getting to the roots of these humdrum records, making it hard to find a reason to recommend them or seek them out. 16 Stone is a 90s grunge classic, even if it was a bit late to the party. But every album after that boisterous debut struggles to find a purpose for existing outside of small pockets. Bush don't have a single day one member left other than vocalist Gavin Rossdale, so maybe that has something to do with their fall from grace. That and the fact that Gavin's writing is clunky, shallow, and often duller than a butter knife. The habit of repeating noises and simple phrases was an Achilles heel in the making on 16 Stone, but not an album killer. There's a few moments like Monkey that I just cannot defend, but for the most part, I think the longevity of the album speaks for itself, with many of the singles still in regular rotation on the radio. After a short-lived hiatus, Bush made a comeback with The Sea of Memories in 2011. Whatever soul may have been there before was now lost in the ocean, with the exception of a banger like The Sound of Winter, and the radio pop rock post-grunge nonsense kept stacking higher with each album that followed. I can't say that I hate Bush the way that some grunge fans do, but at the same time, they do bug the hell out of me as they show moments of brilliance mainly just on their singles, and while I do think their 2020s output has been noticeably better, it's hard to imagine a world where they make another album that's a must-hear. Imagine Dragons are a childish band who make cartoonishly overproduced songs to appease algorithms. Not to say that individual members don't have any talent, it's just almost impressive at how little they choose to showcase any of it. When they debuted with Night Visions in 2012, you could almost hear the first shot ringing out in a Nerf gun battle. Everyone's shouting and jacked up on energy drinks without realizing how stakes-free most of the music is. Smoke and Mirrors landed in 2015, depolarizing reviews and sales that started high but declined sharply as even the sheep couldn't march to the beat of their shepherd's drum. Their sophomore outing feels like a rogue mission ready to actually take a gamble. The execution falters in places, with songs like I Bet My Life being unbearable, but for the majority of the tracklist, I have to give them credit for breaking the status quo and finding ways to make the music feel urgent. What happens when your big artistic experiment doesn't perform that well? Time to hop right back on your bullshit. Going from Smoke and Mirrors into Evolve is like hitting up a Teletubbies concert on the way home from a Broadway musical. It's intentional sensory overload that's trying to be as wacky and relatable as possible. Fun fact, I had not heard Act 2 of Imagine Dragons' Mercury until now. I kept putting it off until finally caving since, well, I needed context. And good God, I feel as though I've opened Pandora's box. Act 2 was truly heinous gasoline poured on a raging hellfire of annoying sounds, and it further justified my hatred for their blatant NPC commercialism.
Shame on myself, I don't know how I got so tangled.
Wait, Sellout Kings, you dropped your crown!
Holy fuck, holy fucking fuck.
Maroon 5 were once known as Kara's Flowers. Changing their name before their sleeper hit debuts, Songs About Jane took the world by storm in the early to mid 2000s. They had so much promise that it's almost unfathomable how they devolved into such vile plastic hitmakers after an early career that soared with magical grooves, biting personality, and lasting catchiness. Fortunately, it's not that hard to float back to a better time when Songs About Jane was respected for being the pop-adjacent blue-eyed soul masterclass it is. The suave songwriting churned out bangers like Harder to Breathe, Sunday Morning, and Tangled, with the band members audibly locked in, visible, and actually co-writing the songs. They managed a pretty good sophomore outing 5 years later on It Won't Be Soon Before Long, but the apathy started rearing its head by the early 2010s, with Overexposed in 2012 marking their point of no return. They chose cloud over substance, suckling the devil's teat to score some cheap hits while leeching onto other popular artists and collaborating with them out of the fear of becoming irrelevant. Modern Maroon 5 occasionally stumble onto a somewhat catchy tune, but it's become increasingly rare since the release of V put them in a tailspin. In fact, Red Pill Blues and Geordie are among my worst albums of the past decade because they're see-through, spineless cash cows designed to prop up Adam Levine's ego. That's a wrap on this SOS. Hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on these one-album wonders. If you did, then hit that like button, tap subscribe, and check out the opposite of this video topic right above me. Thanks for watching, follow me on Instagram for more music takes, and I'll see you next time.